You know what's funny about horror games? Everyone says, I would have survived that, or I would have just done this. Well, I've analyzed horror game monsters and found 8 that you absolutely would not survive, no matter how built different you think you are. And the most dangerous one makes survival completely impossible. Look, I already know you're thinking, not me, I'm different. Don't be that guy. Hit like and subscribe, then comment your survival plan. Everyone did that on my last video too. Trust me, I played a ton of horror games recently and I'm about to show you why these monsters are built different. So first up, we have Lady Dimitrescu. You know her. I don't know how to say her name, so I'm just gonna call her Big Lady. You know, she's the tall vampire vader that took over the internet faster than cat videos did back in 2006. Look at her, all fancy with her big hat, fancy dress, like she's heading to some sort of royal tea party instead of, you know, murdering everyone that walks into her castle. Let's get one thing straight. This lady is 9.5 feet tall. That's like a basketball player standing on another basketball player's shoulders, AKA my ideal woman. Remember in school when there was always that one kid who hit their growth spurt first and towered over everyone? Yeah, well, Lady D makes that kid look like a garden gnome. But I could just run away from her. Oh, really? Have you seen those heels she's wearing? She shouldn't be able to run at all, but somehow she's chasing you down hallways like she's wearing track shoes. And don't even think about hiding. Her castle isn't that big when you're basically the size of a toddler compared to her. Now, let's talk about those fingers. Not the normal kind that me and you have. Nope. When Lady D gets mad, which is pretty much anytime she sees you, those fancy manicured nails turn into giant metal claws. Like imagine if Wolverine was a runway model. One swipe and you're not just dead, you're in multiple pieces. Or if you're Ethan from Resident Evil, your arm comes off. Well, I would just shoot her. Go ahead. Try it. She literally laughs at bullets. You could empty an entire gun into her and she'd just be annoyed that you ruined her dress. That's because she's infected with something called the Cadeau parasite, which basically gives her super healing power. Your little pea shooter isn't going to do anything except make her more interested in using your blood as her afternoon refreshment. Because yes, she makes wine out of blood, because why not? Speaking of blood, she's basically a vampire. She doesn't just kill you, she drinks you. There's a whole dungeon in her castle where she hangs people upside down to drain them like human juice boxes. And you think you'd somehow be different? Like she'd take one look at you and go, oh, this one seems nice, I'll let him go. Nah. You'd be on tap faster than you can say, please don't eat me. But vampires have weaknesses. Yes, classic vampires are afraid of sunlight and garlic. Lady D, her only real weakness is extreme cold, which isn't super helpful unless you happen to be carrying around a portable freezer. Oh, and there's a special ancient dagger that can kill her, the Dagger of Death's Flowers. And let me guess, you just happen to have one of those lying around, right? No, they didn't think so. You somehow managed to actually hurt her, you're in for a real treat. This elegant, sophisticated lady transformed into a massive dragon-like monster. We're talking huge wings, even bigger claws, and a face not even a mother could love. But I could. Imagine making it all the way through her castle, thinking you're about to escape, and then this happens. You think your built different muscles are gonna help you against that? The only thing built different about you would be how they need to rebuild the castle walls after she throws you through them. Funniest part is that in the game, it takes Ethan Winters, a guy who can literally reattach his own severed limbs with magic healing juice, to barely survive her. And you, with your Monster Energy drink and that one time you went to the gym last month, think you'd do better? Please. Even if you somehow survived her, you'd still have to deal with her 3 creepy daughters who can turn into swarms of bugs. But we don't even need to go there because let's be real, Lady D would have you mounted on her wall before you could say, step on me, tall lady. Speaking of getting crushed though, how about we check out a guy who could squish you without even touching you? Karl Heisenberg might look like a steampunk hipster with anger issues, but his magnetic personality will literally tear you apart from the inside out. So you might think you have a chance against Lady D because you're small and fast. Well, buckle up, Buttercup, because Karl Heisenberg doesn't even need to catch you to kill you. This dude looks like he walked out of a rock concert with his leather jacket and sunglasses. But don't let that fool you. He's basically Magneto with anger issues. You know, those little magnets on your fridge? Imagine that, but strong enough to yank a car across a room. That's Heisenberg's power. He controls metal, all metal. So what? I'll just not carry anything metal. Oh, that's cute. Let's see. Got fillings in your teeth, metal zippers on your clothes, belt buckle, watch, cell phone. Maybe you have a really high iron diet. Congratulations, you're now a walking collection of deadly weapons against yourself. And you're fighting him in his factory, a place literally made of metal. It's like fighting a fish while you're drowning in the ocean. The walls, the pipes, the tools, everything around you becomes a potential missile aimed straight at your face. And trust me, getting hit with a flying wrench at 100 miles per hour isn't just gonna leave a bruise. Fine, I just bring plastic or wooden weapons. Great thinking, Einstein. Now you're bringing a plastic spork to a metal hurricane. While you're poking at him with your non-metal stick, he's got an entire army of creepy robot zombie things called soldats. These aren't your garden variety zombies either. They're part machine, part corpse, and all nightmare. Some of you tough guys are probably thinking, I'd reason with him. He doesn't like Miranda either. We could team up. Yeah, Heisenberg did try to team up with Ethan in the game, to use Ethan's baby daughter as a weapon. What a great guy. His idea of friendship is let me experiment on your child. But sure, I bet he'd make an exception for you because you're so special. The worst part is, this dude is smart, like evil genius smart. He built an entire factory of death machines. While you're still trying to figure out why your car is making that weird noise, he's building cyborg monsters out of corpses. He's not just strong, he's playing chess while you're eating the checkers. And if you somehow manage to make him angry enough, that's when things get really bad. Heisenberg's final form is basically what would happen if a junkyard and a slaughterhouse had a baby and they didn't love it. He fuses himself with his machine to become a massive whirling death tornado with saw blades for arms. Now that's metal as fuck. Oh, I bet I could outrun him. Sure, Usain Bolt. The guy who can control anything metal around him, including the very ground you're standing on, definitely won't catch you. And even if you did somehow escape his factory, you're still stuck in a village filled with werewolves and other monsters under Mother Miranda's control. The only reason Ethan Winters beats this guy is because of Chris Redfield. You know, the boulder punching superhuman, who gives him a special tank made from non-magnetic materials. Do you have a super soldier friend with access to experimental weapons? No? Then you'd be a human shish kebab before you could say I'm allergic to tetanus. So unless you're secretly made of plastic and have a tank in your back pocket, maybe don't go bragging about how you'd handle Magneto's angry cousin. But hey, at least Heisenberg only controls metal. Our next nightmare doesn't even make anatomical sense. Imagine fighting something that's basically 100 dead bodies having the world's worst group hug. Let me introduce you to the One Reborn, or should I say the Many Reborn, because this thing is basically a pile of corpses having the world's most disturbing group hug. That's not just a Bloodborne monster, that's a traffic accident made of people. It's like someone took 100 dead bodies, threw them in a blender, hit puree, and then whatever disgusting soup came out decided to stand up and start walking around. Gross. The worst part isn't even looking at it. It's the sound. Imagine the nastiest, wettest, squishiest noises you've ever heard, all coming from a mountain of melted humans that's somehow alive. If you've ever stepped on a slug barefoot, multiply that feeling by about 1,000. But I have a strong stomach. I watch surgery videos for fun. Sure you do, tough guy. But there's a big difference between watching something nasty on your phone and actually smelling it in person. This thing reeks of decay, blood, and whatever comes after decay when things get really bad. Your brave talk would turn into vomit real quick. And speaking of vomit, that's one of its favorite attacks. This charming pile of death loves to puke up this toxic goo all over the arena. So not only are you fighting a walking corpse mountain, you're also playing the floor is acid at the same time. Well, I would just aim for its weak spot. Oh, you naive, sweet summer child. What exactly do you think the weak spot is on a creature made of hundreds of random body parts? It's all weak spots, and it's all strong spots. Its entire existence makes no sense at all. The real kicker is that this thing doesn't even fight fair. While you're busy trying not to throw up or slip in corpse vomit, there are these lovely ladies called Bell Maidens hanging out on the balconies. And what do? They throw magic death balls at you, because apparently fighting Corpse Mountain wasn't hard enough. Well, I would just take out all the Bell Maidens first. Great plan, except you have to run past the One Reborn to reach the stairs. Good luck with that. It's like saying I'd beat a lion by first putting my head in its mouth to check for cavities. The thing about the One Reborn is that it doesn't just attack you, it attacks everywhere. Its limbs are constantly flailing around like it's having the world's worst seizure. There's no pattern, there's no strategy, it's just chaos, pure disgusting chaos. And did I mention the limbs rain down from the sky? Yeah, it makes weird stuff fall from the ceiling. Imagine walking down the street and suddenly it's raining feet and arms. That's your life now. Congratulations. I'm fast though. I would dodge everything. Sure, Neo from the Matrix, but even if you somehow avoid getting hit by its dozen limbs and vomit pools, the falling body parts, and the Bell Maiden's attacks, you're still in a locked arena with it. You can't run, but eventually you'll get tired. It won't. It's already dead. It doesn't need to rest. The only reason anyone beats this thing in Bloodborne is because they can respawn after dying. In real life, you get one try. One, and let's be honest, you'd waste it standing there with your mouth open going, "What the actual hell is that thing?" or getting smushed by a flying torso. But hey, at least the One Reborn isn't just a physical monster. Our next horror doesn't just attack your body, goes straight for your mind, and doesn't even give you a weapon to fight back. Alright, time for a different kind of nightmare. The Mutant Baby from Resident Evil Village isn't just gross, it's the kind of thing that makes therapists rich. Picture this, you're in a dark, flooded basement. Your weapons, gone. Your flashlight, barely working. And then you hear it, this weird crying sound. You turn around and that is what is coming for you. A giant, deformed baby monster with a mouth that could swallow your head whole. And it's crying, "Duh, duh, duh." Well, it chases you. Sleep tight tonight. It's just a hallucination though. It's not real. Keep telling yourself that while this enormous flesh potato with limbs is dragging itself through dirty water towards you. Real or not, your brain thinks it's real, and that's all that matters. The thing about the Mutant Baby that makes it so terrifying isn't just how it looks. It's that you're completely helpless. No guns, no knives, not even a stick to poke it with. Just you, your probably pants, and the world's ugliest infant playing the world's worst game of peekaboo. Well, I've seen worse on Reddit. Sure you have, tough guy. Seeing something on your phone while you're sitting on the toilet is completely different from hearing the wet slap of baby flesh dragging across the floor, getting closer and closer in real life. Let's be honest about something. Even the most hardened horror fans would be breaking down in tears. You know those videos where people get scared at haunted houses and start punching the actors? That would be you, except your punches would do nothing except make the baby angry. And no one wants to see an angry giant mutant baby. The worst part is how it moves. It doesn't crawl like a normal baby. It drags itself. The sound alone would break you. Those wet, squishy noises getting closer while you're backed into a corner. And then there's the crying. Not cute baby crying, distorted, wrong baby crying that sounds like it's coming from inside your own head. I would just run away. To where, exactly? You're in a flooded basement with narrow hallways and limited places to hide. The baby might be slow, but it's relentless. And unlike a regular baby that gets distracted by shiny objects, this one only cares about catching you. Some of you exercise freaks are probably thinking, I could outrun a baby. First of all, weird flex. Second, this isn't a normal baby, as I've said 50 times already. It's a massive blob of nightmare fuel that doesn't get tired. You, on the other hand, will eventually get exhausted from running in circles in ankle-deep water. And here's something you might not have considered. What does it do when it catches you? In the game, it eats you. That's right, this oversized infant uses you as a midnight snack. Imagine that, being eaten alive by a baby. That's not just dying, that's dying in the most embarrassing way possible. But it's just part of the game, right? Like, I wouldn't be scared in real life. Really? You've never been startled by your own shadow? You've never jumped when a cat knocked something over? You've never been like scared of a weird noise in your house at 3 a.m.? Yeah, okay. Now imagine that instead of your shadow, it's a giant deformed baby making wet slapping noises as it chases you through the dark. Your fight or flight response would be screaming, "Flight, flight, 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 flight!" But your legs turn to jelly. Unless you're somehow immune to fear itself, have night vision, and can hold your breath underwater forever, this overgrown infant would have you crying for your own mommy in about 5 seconds flat. But hey, at least the baby stays in one location. Because our next monster is going to have you imagine fighting something with more arms than an octopus, with each one holding a blade sharp enough to slice you in half with a whisper. So you've escaped an evil baby. Good job, gold star for you. Now let's see how you handle something a little more elegant. Meet Mergo's wet nurse from Bloodborne, the world's deadliest babysitter. Don't let the nurse part fool you. This isn't some lady in a white outfit with a thermometer. This is a floating shadow demon with more arms than a Hindu goddess and more knives than your local cutlery barn. Well, I would just keep my distance. That's your brilliant plan for everything, is it? Just be a big ass wimp. Well, surprise, the wet nurse can teleport. That's right. 1 second she's across the room, the next second she's right behind you. And those blades she carries, they're not kitchen knives, buddy. They're massive curved swords that could cut you in half easier easier than scissors through paper. And she has 6 arms, each with its own blade. That's like fighting 3 people at once, except it's actually just one really angry ghost mom. Some of you gamers are probably thinking, I have great reflexes from playing Fortnite. Cool story. Let's see those reflexes when you have 6 different blades coming at you from 6 different directions at the same time. That's not a fair fight. That's a human food processor with you as the main ingredient. But I just focus on the real one. Oh, you naive child. The wet nurse doesn't play fair. When she's getting tired of your nonsense, she creates shadow clones of herself, multiple wet nurses, all attacking you at once, and you can't tell which one is real. It's like playing the shell game, except all the shells have knives and want you dead. Your odds of guessing right are about the same as your odds of winning the lottery while being struck by lightning. And just when you think it can't get worse, she pulls out her best trick, the nightmare phase. The entire arena goes dark, like pitch black dark. Now you're fighting multiple shadow monsters with knives in complete darkness. Still feeling confident, tough guy? Well, I would just use a flashlight. First, where are you getting this flashlight? Second, it wouldn't help. This isn't regular darkness. It's magical nightmare darkness, the kind where shadows eat light. Your little Energizer buddy flashlight isn't gonna save you here. What makes the wet nurse extra terrifying is how she moves. She doesn't walk, she floats silently. There's no heavy breathing, no stomping footsteps to warn you she's coming. Just this eerie, silent floating death approaching you from all directions. And let's talk about that lawnmower attack. That's what players call it when she goes absolutely bonkers and just starts spinning all of her blades at once. Imagine standing in front of 6 ceiling fans with knives attached to them. That's basically what you're dealing with. Well, I could dodge between the blades. Sure you could, Gymnastics McGee. I'm sure your perfect timing and flexibility would save you from the shadow monster with 6 arms moving at supernatural speeds. You can barely dodge a text from your ex, but sure, you'll matrix your way through a tornado of blades. And the people who beat the wet nurse in Bloodborne, they died a lot, like dozens of times, and they got to respawn. You get one shot, and I'm betting it ends with you doing an impression of shredded cheese. But hey, at least the wet nurse just wants to kill your body. Our next nightmare is after something deeper. Your guilt, your sanity, and everything that makes you, you. Hope you don't have any skeletons in your closet, because Pyramid Head is about to drag them all out. Okay, so far we've talked about monsters that want to stab you and eat you. But Pyramid Head, he's not just after your body, he's after your soul. This is a giant spoiler alert and like content warning, because if you've ever played Silent Hill 2, you know this guy, and this game is sad. Big triangle for a head, drags a sword the size of a surfboard, and wears a bloody apron like he just got off his shift at the world's worst butcher shop. But what makes Pyramid Head different from every other monster we've talked about is that he's not just some random creature, he's your creature. See, in Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head is a physical manifestation of the main character's guilt. He's literally born from all the bad stuff James did and can't forgive himself for. He's shame and punishment with legs. So I'd be fine since I don't feel guilty about anything. Oh really? You've never done anything you regret? You've never told a lie that hurt someone? You've never broken a promise? Never had a bad thought you'd die if people knew about? Yeah, it must be nice being perfect. This makes me think of people that are always like, oh, I don't regret anything. You really don't regret anything? You're just admitting to being a sociopath. There is no way in hell you have a normal brain if you don't regret anything in life. We've all made mistakes. Own up to it, at least. For the rest of us humans, we all have something that we're not proud of. Even if you think you're clear of guilt, Silent Hill has a way of digging up stuff you've buried so deep you don't even remember it. The time you cheated on your test in 3rd grade, that mean comment you made 10 years ago, Silent Hill remembers, and it'll send Pyramid Head to remind you. Well, I would just fight him head on. With what? Your winning personality? This guy takes bullets like they're spitballs. In the game, you can empty an entire clip into him and he'll just keep coming. Not because he's invincible, but because you can't kill your own guilt by shooting it. The sound he makes is the worst part. That horrible scraping noise as he drags his massive blade across the floor. Like fingernails on a chalkboard, but deeper. Louder, and it means death is coming. You'd hear that sound and your bladder would automatically empty. Well, I would just run away. To where exactly? This isn't a normal monster chase. Pyramid Head isn't just following your footprints. He's following your guilt. He knows where you're going before you do because he's inside your head. Every door you think leads to safety, surprise, he's already there waiting. And if you think you've seen some disturbing stuff so far, Pyramid Head takes it to another level. This guy doesn't just kill his victims. He does, other things to them. Things that would make an R-rated movie go straight to banned in all countries. I'm not even going to describe it here because let's just say there's a reason he's considered one of the most disturbing villains in gaming history, and this game covers really disturbing topics. Anyways, so just take it as a warning from me. He a bad guy. I just hide and wait for him to go away. Well, that's not how this works. Pyramid Head isn't some mindless zombie following a scent. He's a piece of you. Hiding from him is like trying to hide from your own shadow. As long as there's light, your shadow is there. As long as there's guilt, Pyramid Head is there. In Silent Hill 2, the only way to truly defeat Pyramid Head is to face your guilt and accept it, to acknowledge what you've done and take responsibility. But let's be honest, most of us can barely admit when we're wrong in an argument, let alone face our deepest, darkest secrets. The scariest part about Pyramid Head isn't his look or his weapon. It's that he represents something real. All the other monsters we've talked about are external threats. Pyramid Head, he's what happens when your own mind turns against you. He's the part of you that thinks you deserve punishment. So unless you're some kind of enlightened monk with zero regrets and perfect self-awareness, Pyramid Head would break you mentally, long before he'd need to break you physically. Speaking of breaking, let's talk about a monster that would literally turn you into pieces before you could even process what's happening. The Orphan of Kos doesn't just kill you, it does it so fast you won't even have time to realize you've been sliced into human confetti. If psychological horror isn't your thing, how about we talk about something that'll just straight up turn you into sashimi? Meet the Orphan of Kos from Bloodborne, the angriest baby in video game history. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another baby monster? Didn't we already do that? No. This isn't like the Mutant Baby. This is what happens when a godlike creature gives birth, dies, and then the baby decides to take out all of its abandonment issues on you. The orphan is basically what you would get if you combined an Olympic sprinter, a blender, and a tantrum-throwing toddler. This thing moves so fast that even gamers with lightning reflexes struggle to keep up. 1 second, it's across the arena. The next, it's right in your face screaming. And that scream, imagine the worst noise you've ever heard. Nails on a chalkboard, fork scraping a plate, your mom calling you by your full name when you're in trouble, and multiply it by 1,000. But I have quick reflexes from playing sports. Sure you do, champ. But unless your local basketball league involves dodging attacks from all directions at superhuman speeds, those reflexes aren't going to help much. The orphan doesn't just attack fast, it attacks weird. There's barely any pattern to learn, no tells you can easily watch for. It's pure chaos in skinny baby form. The weapon it uses? Yeah, it's its own placenta. That's right, this thing beats you to death with its afterbirth, which somehow transformed into a fleshy club blade thingy. That's not disturbing enough for you, just wait until it starts throwing lightning and explosive blood at you from a distance. I just keep my distance and use ranged attacks. Great plan, except the orphan can leap across the entire arena in a split second. Plus, it has its own ranged attacks that can hit you from anywhere. Your brilliant stay far away strategy that didn't work out for the last 100 monsters is definitely gonna fail you here too. And here's the real kicker. Just when you think you're getting the hang of its moves, when you've managed to get its health down to halfway, it goes Super Saiyan on you. Phase 2 of the orphan fight is when it gets really mad, growing wings and getting even faster and more aggressive. Well, I would just study its attack patterns. Study what exactly? The orphan's attacks are deliberately designed to be almost unpredictable. It's like trying to predict where lightning will strike during a thunderstorm while also being chased by a tornado. In the game, the players who finally beat the orphan usually die dozens, if not hundreds of times learning its moves. You get one shot. One. And I guarantee you'd spend that shot frozen in terror as this screaming placenta-wielding nightmare sprints towards you. What makes the orphan extra disturbing is its backstory. This thing is literally born from its dead mother seconds before you encounter it. Its first experience in life is someone, who's you, approaching it with weapons. No wonder it's upset. It's a newborn that never had a chance. Think about that for a second. You're not just fighting some random monster. You're fighting a terrified, angry, orphaned infant god. An infant god that can move faster than you can blink and hit harder than a truck. The saddest part in Bloodborne's story, killing the orphan actually puts its spirit to rest and ends a curse. But you wouldn't know that. All you'd know is there's a screaming nightmare baby turning you into human confetti before you can even say pacifier. Even the most hardcore Bloodborne players rank the orphan as one of the hardest bosses ever created. People who beat Dark Souls without getting hit still struggle with this fight. But sure, you with your fast reflexes from playing Candy Crush would totally handle it. If the orphan sounds bad, just wait until you meet the mastermind behind all the horrors in Resident Evil Village. Mother Miranda doesn't just have one terrible power. She's got the whole package, wrapped up with a bow of pure scientific evil. We've saved the worst for last. Mother Miranda isn't just another monster. She's the queen bee of monsters, the big boss, the final level, the reason all the other nightmares in Resident Evil Village exist in the first place. While Lady D and Heisenberg might get all the fan art, Miranda is the one pulling everyone's strings from the shadows. Think of her as your friend's mom who seems nice at first but is actually running a cult out of her basement. She doesn't look that scary. Well, that's because you haven't seen what's under the mask, but more importantly, her scariness isn't just about looks. It's about what she can do. For starters, she's basically immortal. Miranda found this thing called the megamocyte fungus about 100 years ago, which turned her into a superpowered being who doesn't age. That's right, she's been perfecting her evil plans for a century. While you were busy learning TikTok dances, she was mastering biology and creating monsters. Well, I would just avoid the village entirely. Good luck with that. The entire place is under her control. Werewolves, the creepy dolls, all the lords we've talked about, even the plants and animals. There's literally nowhere to hide that she doesn't know about. And here's the really terrifying part. She can perfectly shapeshift into anyone. In the game, she pretends to be Ethan's wife Mia for months without him noticing any difference. Think about that. Your own spouse replaced by a monster and you couldn't tell. That means your best friend, your mom, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, anyone could be Miranda and you'd never know until it was too late. Well, I'd be able to tell if someone I knew was an imposter. Really, you can't even tell when your partner's mad at you through text messages, but suddenly you're a human lie detector? Mother Miranda doesn't just look like the person. She has their memories, their mannerisms, everything. She's not wearing a mask. She's wearing their entire identity. Did I mention she's also a scientific genius? She literally taught Oswald Spencer, who is the guy who founded the Umbrella Corporation and started the whole Resident Evil zombie mess in the first place. She's been experimenting on people for longer than your grandparents have been alive. Well, then I would use science against her then. With what? Your C+ in high school biology? This woman has had a century to study the mold and its effects. She created the Cadu parasite that powered all the other lords. She's basically the evil Einstein of bioweapons. And when she gets tired of playing games, she can transform into a nightmare creature that's basically a combination of every horror you can imagine. Wings, claws, multiple arms, and the ability to control the mold directly. Well, I would find her weaknesses. After 100 years of studying herself, don't you think she's figured out and eliminated most of her weaknesses? The only reason Ethan eventually beats her is because he has special powers from his own mold infection and the help of Chris Redfield, a super soldier with advanced weapons. Some of you are probably thinking, I'd just reason with her. She lost her daughter. I'd appeal to her human side. That might work if she was still human. But after a century of experimenting on villagers and creating monsters, that ship has sailed. She's so obsessed with bringing back her daughter, Eva, that she's willing to sacrifice a baby, Rose, and countless others. You think your little speech about feelings is going to change her mind? The truth is, against Mother Miranda, you wouldn't even know you were in danger until it was too late. That friendly villager giving you directions? Miranda. That dog following you around? Probably Miranda. That rock? Okay, maybe she's not the rock, but you get my point. She's lived for over 100 years, controls an army of monsters, can perfectly disguise herself as anyone, has genius level intelligence, and can transform into a killing machine if all else fails. You wouldn't stand a chance. You'd just be another failed experiment in her century-long science project. So, there's a bunch of horror monsters you definitely would not survive from different horror video games. Did I miss any that you want me to talk about next? Make sure to comment them down below. And if you think you could actually survive any of these monsters, first of all, you're not built different. But second, comment down below exactly how'd you do it. Then like and subscribe to the channel and click this video on screen if you want to watch more videos just like this.